Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. I am John Schmeelk, joined by Paul Dottino from the Giants podcast studio, presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Paul, we will not have another fun football game that's meaningful and competitive for about 7 months. So I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl, because we're going to be lacking for a bit while here before we get some real football on the field again.
And boy, didn't this season peter out with a whimper.
Yeah, not a great game.
Horrible game.
And unfortunately, my summary at the end of last week's show, Pearson's alive, by the way, just so proof of life, we have it. He's okay. I said I was worried that the Patriots wouldn't be able to block the Seahawks, and I was worried the Patriot wide receivers wouldn't be able to get open against the Seahawks. And
they knew it.
When you can't do either of those two things, it's going to be hard to win a football game, and that's kind of what we saw in that game between the Patriots and the Seahawks.
The last two Super Bowls have been owned and controlled by the defensive front of the winning team, wholeheartedly.
And I think it shows you the importance of having a really good offensive line. Because even if another team has a good defensive front, if you have a good enough offensive line, you're going to be able to block them up enough for you to succeed.
Enough.
And you had two games where you had very good defensive fronts, whether it was the Eagles last year, Seahawks this year, going against offensive lines that, for the Chiefs, they've had a lot of injuries on the offensive line, but they did not. Also, the guys that played last year did not play well.
No.
And then the Patriots, they've thrown a lot of resources into the line, but they're still young, and they haven't quite put it together yet. So that when you have a mismatch like that, it's very difficult to overcome.
And that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they said how many times, was it 3 times on the broadcast, that the right guard and right tackle were both rookies, and it's the first time in Super Bowl history that 2 offensive line starters were both were rookies.
Right guard and left tackle.
Right guard and left tackle. 2 offensive line starting rookies in a Super Bowl. First time ever in 60 Super Bowls. I mean, it's a risk. Now, I will say this. I'm going to tip my cap to the Seattle Seahawks, because not only did they play a terrific defensive game, they did what they had to do offensively. Darnold threw 2 interceptable balls in the first half, and the Patriots did not come up with them. They had a chance to at least put him a little bit on the ropes, and they didn't do it. And when they missed those 2 opportunities, I said to my pop at halftime, I said, Dad, they had 2 chances to turn them over.
The Christian Gonzalez one over the middle, was that one of them?
Yeah.
And then what was the first one?
The other one was another one that I thought Gonzalez could have had his hands on.
Okay.
And, to be honest, that was, to me, that was their best chance. They had to go +2 in turnovers, and they couldn't do it.
And we said it, and I was talking to Pearson before we came on, and I'm like, Darnold came out. I think he was a little bit rushed on those first 2 drives. He actually completed some really tight window throws that were very difficult passes.
He had a few nice ones, but then he had a few real errant ones too.
Right, or ones that were in such tight areas that they were dangerous. And the Patriots, once you got to the end, you knew it. You even felt like it at the moment that they had to come up with those if they wanted to figure out a way to win the game.
At halftime, I pretty much said to my dad, they had chances to do something and ignite their firecracker in the first half, and they never did it. And I'm not so sure that at this point, if you're McDonald, you know the deal.
Who? Oh, McDonald. I got
it. McDonald. If you're McDonald, you know the deal. You've got the lead. You probably figured, as I did, that they were going to have to be the Patriots +2 in turnovers to have a chance to win the game. Why not just pull back the reins? And in the second half, they didn't do a whole lot offensively, but they didn't have to. They
knew
just methodically just authored the rest of the game.
As long as they did not turn the ball over,
they were
going to be in good shape.
It was over.
That's what it was. And look, they played the right way. We talk about paths to victory.
Absolutely.
That was the path. And Kenneth Walker ran the ball really well.
No doubt.
And by the way, and even with those other issues the Patriots had, Seahawks were playing 2 safeties back the whole game, and they could not run the ball on them. They could not run the ball. So put that together. I don't have much else to say about the game proper, but I will now give you a chance to give Sam Darnold all the credit for being the first Super Bowl champion from that quarterback, from that draft class.
As I just said, I felt he did not play great in the first half.
No, he wasn't great.
Could have been had. But once they went into the locker room at halftime, I just felt that they were going to fold their tents and just kind of put it on cruise control the rest of the game. And I didn't think in the second half that they would take any chances with him. And as it turned out, I didn't think there were any interceptable balls
No,
in the
there
second
weren't. He
half.
made a couple of nice throws down the
He
field.
did.
Though. Yeah.
And he did.
Give. I'm waiting for the credit, not the excuses. Go ahead.
He managed the game like Trent Dilfer. He's a Super Bowl champion. So is Trent Dilfer. Whoop-de-doo.
You told me on Friday that if the Seahawks won,
Yeah.
you would come here and you would pay your penance.
He's a Super Bowl
penance.
champion. Sam Darnold's a Super Bowl champion. And you know what?
He was a lot better this. Did you see what he did in the NFC Championship game
I know.
against the Rams?
He also led the league in turnovers this year.
Did you see what he did? I don't think he led the league in turnovers.
Yeah, he did. No, seriously, he did. They mentioned it in the Super Bowl twice. Led the league in turnovers.
I don't think that's true. I'll have to double check that.
Please. I'm not a fan. But you know what? He did what he did. He did what he did. He executed the game plan. He stayed away from the key mistakes that he had to stay away from. And the couple of times that he played with fire, the Patriots did not burn him. That's it. It's okay. You know, I'll tip my cap to him. He's turned out to be better than I thought he was. But I still wouldn't sign him up on my team.
Well, it depends on the price tag.
I got a lot of other quarterbacks I'd want before him, regardless of the price tag.
I don't understand.
I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan. That's okay.
You never change your mind on people.
I've lightened up. I've lightened up.
At $30 million, he's a very good value at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I suppose when you consider salary cap numbers, yes, I suppose so.
He must have had a lot of fumbles.
Yeah,
Darnold,
he did.
Because Gino and Tua both had more interceptions than he did.
Go ahead.
I'll
look up the
I'd have to look
if
at
you want me
fumbles
to.
lost. I'm curious because I knew Gino had more picks than he did at 17. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what the fumbles lost stat is. You could be right. I'm not sure about the fumbles lost part of it. This is what I wanted to bring up here, Paul, to talk about the Seahawks. You know, they had their, pardon me, their run with the Legion of Boom, and then they kind of fizzled out a little bit, right? I'm going to go through some of these because we're into draft season now. So this is kind of wanted to go with this, okay? So once you got past the Legion of Boom era in 2016, same
20 turnovers for Darnold.
So he had 5 fumbles lost?
He was number 1.
So I guess Gino had fewer than 3. Okay, fair enough. So once you got past the Legion of Boom, John Schneider, still the GM today.
Yes.
And this is
pretty amazing.
First GM ever to win the 2 Super Bowls with the same team without having any players on both rosters.
Correct.
And this is
incredible.
And that's the point I'm trying to make here. So once you get past the Legion of Boom era, so I'll start with 2018. Here were the first round picks. Heck, I'll give you the first and second round picks for the Seattle Seahawks. 2018, Rashad Penny, Rasheem Green. 2019, LJ Collier, Marquise Blair. I don't remember who Marquise Blair is.
Nor do I.
2020, Jordan Brooks, who ended up being a pretty good player.
Yeah.
Darrell Taylor, second round. 2021, no first round pick, Dwayne Eskridge in the second round. Not even in the league anymore. Okay?
Wow.
Brutal run.
That is incredible.
An all-time bad run. That is some bad drafting.
How did they do this?
Same guy. Starting in 2022. Charles Cross, first round. Boye Mafe, second round.
Okay.
Kenneth Walker, second round. Abraham Lucas, third round.
Bing, 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 bing.
2023. Devin Witherspoon, first round. Jackson Smith and Jigba, first round. Derek Hall, second round. Zach Charbonnet, second round.
Oh, my.
2024. Byron Murphy, first round. Christian Haynes, third round. That didn't work out.
No.
A.J. Barner, fourth round. Starting tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And then this past draft, Gray Zabel, first round. Nick Emenwari, second round. Elijah Arroyo, second round.
Wow.
Same GM.
So what
Same
changed?
front office. The head coach changed for one.
Yeah.
So was he drafting for Pete Carroll and that messed him up? Or this is where I'm going with this, though.
Okay.
It's hard to draft.
Yeah, it is.
Even good GMs can hit cold streaks.
Yeah.
It happens. And then they get hot. And all it takes is a couple hot draft classes for things to get really good really fast.
3 in a row, right?
Yes, after 4 brutal ones. Just
Brutal
absolutely
ones.
zeros First-round picks, zeros.
So then doesn't that beg the question, was Pete Carroll really deserving of the hook?
Unless he was the one that was influenced in those picks.
I don't know that.
But putting that aside, I think the point I was trying to make is that A, which we always talk about and why we spend so much time on the draft here, it's the most important thing an NFL team can do.
Mm-hmm.
If you draft well, you have a chance to be good. If you draft poorly, you're not.
Yeah.
You're just not. All right? And number two, just because a GM might have a bad draft or two or even three doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. Because sometimes draft classes just don't work out. Just look at John Schneider. By the way, and then if you go back, when they won their first set of Super Bowls before that cold streak, right? You had Bruce Irvin round 1, Bobby Wagner round 2, Russell Wilson round 3. Like you had really good picks. Richard Sherman round 5. Cam Chancellor was a 5th round pick.
Unbelievable.
Golden Tate was a 2nd round pick. Russell Okung, who was a good offensive lineman, and Earl Thomas 1st round pick. Like he was hot. He had the hot streak.
Yep.
Cold streak.
Yep.
Hot streak.
Yep.
And it's just how it goes sometimes. So that's why, one, we do all the draft work we do here because it's so important to build your team. But it also shows how difficult it is. For the same guy with the same front office can look like a genius, look like an idiot, and then look like a genius again. And it's just funny how it goes and how chaotic it could all look.
And then part B to your theory is when you sign free agents, they've got to give you the amount of production that they're paid to give you. As in, when you acquire guys like Love and Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence and Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp,
right.
when you go and get these guys off of other teams' rosters, whether it's a trade or a free agency signing, they've got to live up to their football card. They can't come and then underachieve because that'll ruin you.
And they spend big money on the interior offensive line, too, to try to shore that thing up.
And it worked.
And by the way, I forgot Tariq Woolen, too, was one of those quarterback draft picks as well. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And that's what you have to hit on these things. And that's why team building in the offseason is so important.
So you got to hit on the draft and you got to hit on your acquisitions.
Hey, we talked about the Patriots last week, right? How the Patriots hit on all their free agents.
It's a very, very tricky business.
And by the way, it also doesn't mean that Drake May stinks now. He still had a really good year. I think what we did see is people have used the word fraudulent. I think that's a little bit strong.
Yeah,
but I do think it's pretty clear that the Patriots were beneficiaries of an extremely soft schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And when they started playing the better teams in the postseason, we saw their flaws bubble to the surface more. And now as they head to the offseason, they have to improve their... Again, I don't know if they're going to add more pieces to the offensive line, but it certainly has to get better, whether it's through internal improvement or just making the unit better.
Those two rookies could get better. I mean, come on.
No, I would think so.
Yeah.
And, Will Campbell is a high pick. He really struggled late in the year.
Big time.
And they have to add better wide receivers that can get open. Like, Stephon Diggs was invisible for much of the postseason. Kayshon Boutte makes some good plays here or there, but he's not consistent.
Wasn't enough.
Kyle Williams is a good young player, but again, he hasn't done enough yet. So
they got nothing out of the tight end position in the Super Bowl.
No.
Nothing.
So you have to build a better... They spent a lot of money on the defense last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to build an infrastructure around your quarterback a little bit. Whether that's through the draft or free agency, it has to get better around Drake May. It has to.
And we talk about this in spite of the fact that McDaniel is one of the most respected offensive coordinators in the game. But again, without the appropriate pieces to give him a certain level of play against higher level competition, it just doesn't work, John.
And that goes to continuing to build around Jackson Dart, right?
Exactly.
With Malik Neighbors coming off an ACL.
Goes full circle
Make sure you have a receiver there.
No doubt.
2 free agents on the offensive line. Make sure you shore that up.
Mm-hmm.
2 free agents next year on the offensive line. Make sure you keep that, you figure out a way to keep that offensive line playing well. So those are the lessons that I took away from the Super Bowl now that all is said and done.
And, after watching that game and then reflecting back on the game before that with the Eagles and the Chiefs last year, I just started rethinking again. And as much as I know there were people out there who are big on Caleb Downs, I get it. I really get it.
Nick Memorial looked pretty good in that game.
I know.
But he was a second-round pick.
I know.
I know he was a first round. I'm sorry, he was a first round.
No, he was. I'm rethinking even putting Downs in my mix at 5 now.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Ebenwar was a second-round pick. I was right about that. He was a 2.
He was their second pick of the draft. Was he still a 2?
Second-round pick.
Okay. I didn't know if they had 2 that
that's
year.
That's why I double-checked
Okay.
it.
I'm rethinking putting Downs in my cluster at 5 now. As good as he is, and I believe he belongs up in that vicinity. I'm rethinking that whole thing because
He's still on my cluster.
I get it, and I'm not downing him in any way. This is not a smack on him.
No pun intended.
No, not at all. But I look at this and I say to myself, you know what? They've got to make sure that Jackson Dart is up on his feet and is not playing half of this season on his back. They've got to make sure of that. And they've got to make sure
Well, so why don't we wait
he
to
has
see
another
what,
weapon.
So why don't we wait to see what free agency looks like?
We are going to need to see that.
Yes.
Because to me, I have now firmly decided in my head, and this is why, again, I'm still tinkering with this.
And
I'm
the
not-
reason Downs is in there for me, Paul, it's not a need thing. I just know he's going to be one of the best players.
I know. I understand
And that's
that.
why he's there. Whether or not I think they should pick him, we'll wait and see how all this plays
Yeah.
out. It's way too early to say.
Yeah.
But he will certainly be the or one of the highest, greatest players on the board when the Giants pick.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. I'm still going to say at the moment, and I've said this now for a few weeks, I'm still leaning toward Tate. That's still where I'm leaning.
Yep. I get it.
But I could be convinced to take an offensive lineman there. And we know that there were 2 guys who were in that neighborhood.
I'm just not sure they're good enough to get picked.
I'm not sure that they are either. But if
Remember, don't let need pick your
No,
player.
no,
That's not
no,
good
no.
enough.
what I'll need to know is, and we're not going to know this because the Giants won't tell us, how do they grade those top 2 offensive linemen?
Well, and that might guide in terms of what they do with Jermaine Illuminor too.
And that, of course, is the first step to this whole thing, which is why we keep telling you folks, we almost hate talking about that 5th pick until free agency.
Well, I mean, we can talk about the players you can consider, but
That's
talking
true.
about what the Giants should do,
Yeah.
you just can't because
No.
free agency changes everything.
No.
All right, you ready to take some calls?
Let's do it.
201-939-4513, 201-939-4513. Just a reminder, Special Olympics New Jersey's annual Snow Bowl is headed to Rutgers SHI Stadium in 2026. The annual flag football tournament will be on the field from March 6th through the 8th, 2026. The 6-on-6 tournament will feature competitive, recreational, and co-ed divisions, and all proceeds benefit thousands of Special Olympics New Jersey athletes across the Garden State. Register your team today at njsnowbowl.org. That's njsnowbowl.org. Guys, it's going to be a quiet week on the Giants Huddle podcast this week, not going to lie. Draft season's going up today, but we haven't announced the coaching staff yet. So I can't really do a Giants Huddle podcast on the coaching staff because we haven't announced it yet. I'd love to. I can't. You can call up and talk to us about it, but I can't do like a full podcast on it because we haven't announced anything yet.
Yeah.
So if anybody has an idea, you can send a tweet in or to the YouTube comments for what you think would be an interesting Giants Huddle podcast this week, and maybe I'll try to put one down. But right now I don't have any really good ideas, Paul, to be totally honest with you.
I totally understand.
There's just not a whole lot going on.
Hamstrung
it's kind
right
of a
now.
lull period.
Hamstrung right
as
now,
we go.
no doubt.
All right, 201-939-4513, 201-939-4513. I do invite you, though, go back. If you haven't listened to them, we have very long shows on there with all my interviews from the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl. They're great episodes. Go check them out. It's definitely worth your time as you learn about these draft prospects. And Ed in New York does want to lead us off and wants to talk about the draft. Ed, what's going on?
Hey guys, how you doing today?
We're great.
I do want to point out too that I've seen a lot of first-year coaches have a lot of success their first year. Brian Dable did; he even won Coach of the Year, and then it's kind of followed off. So before everybody hypes up on the Patriot bandwagon or the Seattle bandwagon, you got to give them at least another year to see if they can duplicate that.
Well,
or
remember,
become even better.
this was Mike McDaniel's. It was Mike McDonald's second year, so it is his second year as Seattle head coach.
All right.
And Vrabel does
Yeah,
have
fair
a
enough.
history of success, Ed, before this year, so I think that makes you probably feel a little bit better about it. But look, you're right. Anyone can have one great year. Sustaining that success is what makes a team and a coach truly great. I think that's fair.
And just
Right.
one thing about Vrabel, I thought he did a really good job with
You mean
the
verbal, right?
Yeah, right. Good one, John. I thought Vrabel did a great job with the Titans, and I thought that he should have been even higher demand when he was set free. I had a lot of faith when he took the Patriots job that he would be able to turn them around, not necessarily in 1 year,
Right.
but I did think he was going to get them squared away.
I agree with that.
And it's a credit to him even though the schedule was light, and I agree with you, John, it turned out to be a light schedule, they gutted out and gritted out a bunch of victories this year and got themselves all the way to the Super Bowl until they were outclassed.
Yeah, they did a good
but
job.
my hat's off to Vrabel. I thought he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, no, and I won't disagree with that. I mean, I'm a Giants fan. I hate the Patriots, okay, but I will say that he did a great job, and I did like him in Tennessee, which leads me to the Giants. I think Harbaugh is the first coach in a long, long time that has credentials, somebody who can walk into a room and you already know that you're in a better position than you were the previous years because he just brings that aura about him. So I'm very happy about that. So.
No, you're right. And look, when it comes to building the roster up too, he'll work very closely with Joe Shane to do that. You are going to feel his touch at every access point of the organization. You know, he's going to impact it, Ed, and I think, and I know you want to talk about the draft, I think he's going to impact to the type of players the Giants draft too, because one thing Joe Shane has always done, he will listen to his coaches and draft the players that they want and that they think can help them in their systems.
No, I do, and this might be a good podcast for you, but maybe break down the needs of the Giants and then have a podcast where you discuss certain players who might fit each of those needs, who are in the draft. Who might that be? My concern is that they got the number 5 pick. So what are they going to do? Are they going to go offense or are they going to go defense? They were terrible at the stopping the run. Is there a guy in the draft that would help sum that up for them, or is there a cornerback that's going to be the guy who's going to change it around for the secondary, or just what do you guys feel that they're going to primarily focus on?
It's a good question, and again, I think it depends on what they do in free agency. Tony and I just did our draft season podcast, and appreciate the call, man. Good stuff. We just did our draft season episode today, and we did first round grades. Take a guess, Paul. How many first round grades do you think Tony Pauline had in this year's draft class? Just first round, not top 10, just first round.
Tony's pretty conservative. I'll say 10.
14.
That many? Okay.
I mean, usually you can have 17 or 18.
Yeah, but he's really conservative.
I had 13.
Okay.
So the guys that I write now, again, this can change based on more study and combine and pro days and all that stuff. The 2 edge guys are David Bailey and Ruben Bain. I have Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese. Actually, so I have 14 as well then. So Arvell Reese is my 14th. Mansour Delane, Caleb Downs. Mansour Delane's the cornerback out of LSU. 5 might be a little rich for him, but I don't think it's out of the question. 3 wide receivers, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, in that order. I do have Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq as a first-round grade for me. Spencer Fano, who I have graded slightly higher than Maui Noah, the offensive tackles, both right tackles.
Okay.
And then Vega. Oh, my God, I double-checked the pronunciation again. I had it earlier today, and then I lost it. Hold on, wait.
I know exactly what you're talking
Vega,
about.
I believe it's a Ioane. Ioane, that's what it is. It's Vega Ioane, which I actually remembered. So those are my 15 first-round grades. The guys I'd be comfortable picking in the top 10, I think you're looking at Jeremiah Love. And again, not saying this necessarily for the Giants, just in terms of guys that I think I'd be comfortable picking in the top 10, would be Tate, Love, Reese, Styles, Downs, Bain, Bailey, and then the tackles are kind of right on the edge of that group. And that's kind of how I look at it.
I mean, look, 2 issues here besides free agency, which we've already told you 1,000 times is the number 1 issue. The other issues you have to consider are A, if you're going to let need filter into this thing, and maybe they'll decide not to. Maybe they will just go best player available. And if they do, that makes it easy. Because now it's whoever's the top guy on the board at 5 they're taking, and it doesn't matter what the needs are.
Right.
I have no idea what Harbaugh's influence is going to be on this.
No, neither do I. But there's going to be an influence.
There will be, of course. And so to be frank, and you guys know this, I always tell you when we get closer to the draft, I make my decision who I would pick. I will never tell you who I think the Giants will. The prediction business is not for me. I'm going to tell you who I would pick and why I would pick them. This year, more than ever, I will not offer a prediction because I truly have no idea what Harbaugh's input is going to be. I just don't know. I know when he was with the Ravens, in the Baltimore Ravens system, there was a cooperative effort. But ultimately, it was Ozzie Newsome, and then it was Eric DeCosta, who were pulling the strings, but they gave Harbaugh an awful lot of input, and he's going to have it here too. Now, how much is that going to either jive with what Joe Shane and the scouts want to do, or how much is Harbaugh going to have to convince them that, no, if you give me this guy, this will be better for our team? I just don't know that equation. So I know it's not a cop-out, folks. I just don't know. And I'm not afraid to tell you I don't know.
Right. I was at 15, by the way. I miscounted.
Okay.
I did not have somebody included on my list. But no, there isn't any way to know until we get there and we see how it all plays out. And look, when John Harbaugh comes to a team like this, he's going to have influence on the draft process. All head coaches do. But especially, it's my old thing. Like he's the whale in the Natural History Museum. You got the whale, he's going to impact everything else in that exhibit room. That's just the way it is.
Especially because this team has not done well recently.
Correct.
And when you bring in a whale into this situation, the implication is that he's going to carry a very big stick.
All right, I'm very curious what the topic of this call is going to be. Rob in Connecticut. Rob, what's going on?
Hey, John, P-Dot, how's it going?
What's going on?
Hey, not too much. I'll tell you what, I bet Drake May wishes he had Andrew Thomas over Will Campbell, that's for sure. He would have had a much cleaner Super Bowl.
That's for sure.
Oh, my God. Anyway, reason why I'm calling is, Ray Handley, he passed.
Yes.
We all know it, 82. And I guess this is more for you, P-Dot. Going back to 1991, I know it was chaotic in the offseason because of the late retirement of, the pseudo-retirement of Bill Parcells.
Mm-hmm.
But, his first game was a success. They beat
the 49ers on a field goal.
It was crazy. And, honestly, I wanted to ask you a few things to go over, actually, but regarding Ray Handley. But I think the first year, everything was going great until they lost. They got manhandled by Ricky Irvins in that Washington Redskins game, or, Commanders, I guess, right? But what was your opinion of the first year Ray Handley? And then I want to talk about, I think, another thing after that.
With all due respect to Ray and condolences to his family and his friends for sure.
Absolutely.
The reports were that he passed away on Thursday, I believe, at 81, I think was his age that was in the papers. And I know we have something up on the website about him. Ray was a very smart, football-savvy, numbers kind of guy. He was the one who was the game management guy for Parcells. He was the running backs coach. He was a very strict disciplinarian, but he did not have much of a personality. And he did not get along with guys in the locker room very well, and they did not get along with him. And to be honest with you,
players don't like him.
He was just not the kind of guy who was easy to talk to.
Okay.
He was just a difficult guy to get to know. Very harsh personality, withdrawn. Again, very cerebral. Let me ask you this. You guys, you ever remember when you were in high school, there was that science teacher who everybody knew, like he was really smart, really brilliant, but he didn't seem to fit in with everybody else because he wouldn't smile, he wouldn't joke around?
P-Dot, my 8th grade science teacher actually is the guy that you're talking about.
Well, there you go. And I'm sure you had one too, John.
Sure.
We all had one of those guys. That was Ray Handley. And the locker room was coming off of Bill Parcells, who, while he could be really rough and he pushed guys' buttons, he also had the jokester about him. And he also had, the ability to communicate.
He'd yell at you, but then he'd hug you.
Right. And Bill knew what it was to be a Jersey guy and be outroverted and wear emotions on your sleeve. And all of a sudden they go to this guy who's like, he's like a science teacher in high school. It did not work. That team was good enough. That team was good enough. The 91 team and the 92 team. Of course, there was the work stoppage too. But that team was good enough to not only be a playoff team, but also maybe challenge for another run.
How big?
But the chemistry was just destroyed.
How big was the decision in going with Hostetler over Sims?
Huge.
In terms of how it alienated the locker room, for lack of a better term?
Well, the locker room was split.
Was it really split?
Yeah, there were a lot of guys who believed in Haas because his mobility was key during the 1990 postseason run. There's no doubt about that. But then again, there were a lot of guys who also understood what Phil was. And there was somewhat of a split in the locker room. Now, it wasn't public. Okay, it wasn't public. Guys wouldn't necessarily talk about it out in the media or anything. But internally, there was definitely a feeling that you're a Hostetler guy or you're a Sims guy.
So based on what I'm reading here, LT was a Sims guy?
Yes. LT was definitely a Sims guy.
You don't want to be on the wrong side of LT.
It's funny you guys talk about LT. I remember that interview on Sunday Night Football with Pat Hayden and all those people. He couldn't even say anything positive about Ray. He did a double take. He struggled. I remember that.
It was hard to get to know him or to understand him.
By the way,
Ray was just an odd kind of bird.
This is Bill Pennington from the Times wrote a nice little obit.
Oh, did he?
Yes, I'm reading it right now.
Weekend.
Yeah. So this is an interesting story. I had not heard this, Paul. I wonder if you had.
Yeah.
So Handley stayed in that post for 6 years with the Giants winning the Super Bowl after the 86 and 90 seasons. But that was as he was the running backs coach before he was offensive coordinator. But days after this is me reading the article, but days after the Giants' second victory, a 20-19 thriller against the Bills, Handley, whose mean in an often raucous football locker room demeanor in the raucous football locker room tended to be quiet and cerebral, told Parcells that he was going to leave football and enroll at George Washington University Law School. And Parcells persuaded him to change his mind, enticing him with the promotion of the offensive coordinator because he valued him so much on the sideline during games. He helped him with various math-driven decisions like late-game clock management. Yeah. Did you know he tried to almost quit to go to law school?
Oh yeah,
I had no idea.
He was banned from casinos in Las Vegas because he was a card counter.
I was only like 9 years old. I was only like 9 years old, so I don't remember all that.
No, this guy was brilliant. No one ever questioned his intelligence or his football intelligence. He was like their analytics guy before we even knew the word existed. Okay? And so he never got to be OC with the Giants because Bill put him in name, and then Bill left after the draft, and Handley became the new head coach. I think the team underachieved those 2 years when Ray was coaching because, quite frankly, he did not have the people skills or the skills to deal with the media very well. That's a box he didn't check. And as a result, it was what it was. He lasted 2 years, and then Dan Reeves came in and got the Giants back to the playoffs in '93 when he immediately, upon getting the head coach's job, said, we're going to let Hostetler go free agent. Phil Simms is my guy. Okay?
So I think the biggest mistake he made, too, and by the way, I went to the last game. His second season, I went to the Philadelphia Eagles game at Veterans Stadium. It was the coldest I've ever been in a stadium, and we got annihilated by who was the quarterback? I think
Dave Craig?
No.
Quarterback for the Eagles?
You said Eagles or Cardinals?
The Eagles.
Oh, Randall Cunningham.
Was it Randall or was it the other guy from the Chicago Bears who used to get hurt every other game?
I don't know the second quarterback you're talking about.
To be honest, the years kind of blend together at this point. I don't remember the specific game that you're talking about. What I do remember is this. The Giants were not nearly as competitive as they should have been in a bunch of those games. I mean, they were struggling just to even be a 500-type team, and that was absurd. It never, ever, ever, ever should have been that way. But again,
Rod Voss didn't help either, P-Dot.
Well,
I think
the work stoppage was critical.
Terrible.
You know?
Oh, Jim McMahon?
Yeah, McMahon. That's who it was.
Okay.
Right? He was. I think he was the starting QB at that game. It was just a terrible game. It was like so windy, and it was in the shade, and Veterans Stadium was awful, and we were a terrible team. But hey, I was a little kid, and it was anyway.
Well, think about it. That team, the core of that team, made the playoffs for Reeves in '93. So there's really no excuse that in 90 and 91 and 92 under Handley that they wouldn't have been a playoff team. They certainly
Why
should have
did they
been.
draft Gerard Bunch? I think that was also a mistake. Why did they draft Gerard Bunch? Because he didn't do anything.
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair.
I mean, for first, he was a number one pick.
I understand that, but after a few years, he wound up getting overweight, and he got a little bit lazy, and he got banged up, and then, he kind of fizzled out. But he was a moose. When they drafted him, he was a moose.
That was the 90s, too. It was a different era of football, I guess.
It was a different era. They were pounding the ball more then.
Yeah, right. They had that smash mouth Earhart, Ron Earhart.
Fargo was his nickname. Yep.
Yeah, Earhart Perkins. Right, they ran that offense.
Yep.
All right, appreciate the call, Rob. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, good call on the Ray Handley thing. I honestly had missed that yesterday. I was running around.
Well, he passed away apparently on Thursday. I guess one of his relatives put it on social media.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody really picked up on it, because if you don't follow social media, why would you know?
Yeah, I wasn't on social the last couple of days, so.
And then suddenly, I guess, was it Newsweek, believe it or not? Newsweek picked up on it. That's where I saw it, I think, on Saturday, which was like a couple of days later. And then I know the Giants also put up a story.
Yes.
As well. And honestly, again, I think the one thing that I will say about Ray, very, very smart guy. I'll repeat this one more time. Very smart guy, was a very important part of Parcells' coaching staff. The whole analytics and time management stuff. He was the one who would tell Bill about when to call timeouts, and he would give him the clock management stuff on, hey, we need to run the ball on this drive. He would be the guy to do that. Bill will admit to that. He was a very big part of helping Parcells' strategic moves in games.
And I know some Giant fans will be like, well, hold on. They picked Ray Handley over Bill Belichick? Remember, Parcells didn't retire
until after the draft.
Until like June.
Yeah.
And at that point, Belichick had already taken the head coaching job with the Browns.
Yep.
So it's not like he was on the staff.
No.
It was just unfortunate. I remember when Parcells announced his retirement with the health issues that year, and it was shocking.
It was horrible. I'll never forget the press conference. It was dreadful. But here's the thing. George Young had basically already told Belichick before he went to take the job with Cleveland.
That's true.
That you're not going to be the head coach here. George didn't believe that Belichick had the personal interactive skills necessary to deal with a whole locker room or to deal with the New York media, especially on the heels of coming after whenever Parcells would possibly retire. And he was right. He was right. At that time, Belichick was not ready to be a head coach. And he went to Cleveland, made one playoff appearance, and kind of didn't do very well in Cleveland.
I mean, there were some extenuating circumstances, like the owner moving the team in the middle of the night to Baltimore.
Understood all of that. But if you go back and check with your Cleveland media people...
He made the playoffs with the Browns.
He did. He made the playoffs once and did not have a good relationship with the media, though. No. It did not go well.
I mean, that's not surprising.
No, but later on, as Belichick moved on in his career, then look what he became. But at that time, I'll be frank with you, I didn't blame George. I knew Belichick well at that time, too. He was a lot softer than he became later on in his career, but I understood George's questions. I did. Anyway.
All right, so here's interesting. I got a couple of YouTube comments to you, Paul, and Scott. We'll get to you in a second. Making the Darnold this year to Eli in 07 comparisons, because Eli led the NFL in turnovers in 07.
Yeah, except that Eli was really dynamite in the postseason run.
Well, Darnold was dynamite until the Super Bowl.
He was. In the playoffs, he was terrific. No question about that. I can't take that away from him. In the Super Bowl...
No, he was fine.
He was okay.
He was fine.
He was okay.
That's it. No,
I would say Eli had a better Super Bowl than Darnold did, though, that year.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. 100%. No, I think that
would be my only fight back.
I agree with that. Aiden M. Think, Paul, what happened to Darnold seeing ghosts?
Somehow, they didn't show up in California. Believe me, I tried to wake him, John. I was like, come on, ghost. I was banging the pots and pans. Where are you? They didn't show up.
At 11, Imani, we could talk about potential coaching hires, though, right? Yes, we could talk about potential coaching hires. I just can't do a full podcast on that. But if you guys want to call and talk about potential coaching hires, we're more than happy to take your calls at 201-939-4513. A&M Fink, here's a question, Paul.
Yes.
Would you rather have the Giants not go to the Super Bowl if they have a run like the Patriots next season because if they lose? History shows that quarterbacks don't return to the Super Bowl after losing, especially second-year quarterbacks.
I'm not sure I get it.
I guess he's saying that once you lose in the Super Bowl the first time, that early in your career, you generally don't go back. I don't know if I buy that one.
I don't have really any thought on that.
We do have a couple open lines, by the way. Oh, they're ringing now. At Chad Freeman 5124, is Odell Beckham coming back because of the video circulating with him and Jackson Dart?
Oh, I did see that.
I don't even to tell me. I have no idea what that is.
Apparently, it was at one of the functions during Super Bowl week, and the two LSU alums. Not LSU alums. The LSU alum, Odell Beckham, and the Ole Miss alum, Dart, apparently have a very strong connection and bond with each other. Somehow, I'm not sure why. They didn't go to the same school, but somehow they do. And it was quite clear in this particular video. They were both dressed very nicely, stylish. And they were just hamming it up. That's all.
Yeah, I think the Odell Beckham train might be parked in the station at this point.
I do too. I would be very surprised if he comes back for anybody.
That's what I'm saying.
I concur.
All right, let's go to Scott in New Mexico. He's been holding the longest. Scott, what's going on, pal?
Hi, guys. Before I get to my comments, Paul, that was sort of a half-hearted penance to John. I think
It was very half-hearted. I agree. I think he can do better. I'm with you, Scott. I think you're right.
Okay.
I would say wait until H freezes over, but it already has here in North Jersey. So,
I think I saw a pig flying yesterday, too, by the way.
I sort of make it analogous to the career of Jim Plunkett, who was with the Patriots, and I forgot some other team. I think it was San Francisco.
Yeah.
Before he goes to the Raiders.
Won
and he
two.
won 2 Super Bowls.
Won 2. Donald's got 1. So don't put him in Plunkett's category yet.
Okay.
Donald's also much younger than when Plunkett won his first one, too.
He's got time.
Yeah.
In any event, it was a dominant performance by Seattle's defense, and
For sure.
looking back at it, it was, I don't know if it's the same as the Chicago Bears defense in '85, which I thought was the best I've ever seen, but it was pretty close to that. And the game was pretty much over in the first half, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, John Harbaugh, I think in the seasons he's been with Baltimore, I think he's had 10 top defenses. I think it's that number where this is yards allowed. And that bodes well for the Giants because I think John understands the importance of what defense really means. And I've always been a proponent that defense wins you the major games, the championship games, if you play well and you're going to win. But the best player I saw on the field on defense was not on Seattle's team. It was on New England,
the corner,
on the Patriots team, and that was Christian Gonzalez.
And Scott, you remember 2 years ago, I think Paul was on board with me on this one. We loved Christian Gonzalez. We thought he was a top 10 pick. We thought he was great.
Terrific.
Right. So as you went through the draft, I was a big proponent of taking Cornell Tate because I still think he'd be a compliment to Malik Neighbors in a big way.
Yep.
And obviously help Jackson Dart. But if there was a cornerback who had the skills, and John, you know who's in the draft this year, is there anyone comparable to Christian Gonzalez coming out of the draft this year?
No, Christian Gonzalez would probably be a top 5 pick this year if he was in this draft class, and there is no one. Mansour Delane's tape is really good, but he's going to measure much smaller and not test nearly well athletically as Christian Gonzalez. So no, I would not put. If there was a Christian Gonzalez in this year's draft, Scott, I'd be banging the table right now to pick him at 5.
Mm-hmm. That wouldn't be a problem.
Okay. So the question I have for you between the person I like, which is Cornell Tate, and the person a lot of people seem to be gravitating to, which is Caleb Downs. If you had to choose, and defense is your priority with the Giants, in my opinion, it should be. Would you take Caleb Downs if he's available, which I'm not assured he's going to be, or would you still go with the top wide receiver? Based on what you're looking at for the Giants, gravitating to become a better team.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate the call. I would.
Did he not listen to the first part of the show where free agency comes first?
No, I know. I know. And that's the ultimate caveat in terms of what you want to do. Like, if you don't re-sign Wan'Dale Robinson, I'll put it this way. How about this? If you don't bring Wan'Dale Robinson back, I think you have to pick the wide receiver. You have no choice. You have to. If you bring Robinson back and maybe add somebody else, which I'm not sure you can do that because you already have some money tied up in the position, then it becomes less important. But I will put it this way to you, and I think we had a similar conversation last week to this. Like, if you told me which player has a better chance to being an all-pro at their position, it's not even close.
We talked
like,
about
it's
that.
not even close that the answer is Caleb Downs. It's not close.
I agree with that.
So that's the ultimate question you have to ask yourself. On draft season today, Tony's like, look, I could see the Jets taking Downs at 2. Because Aaron Glenn's a DB. He had Brian Branch in Detroit, who was kind of a do-everything safety. So he's like, yeah, actually, my question was, I actually asked him flat out, what do you think the earliest Caleb Downs can go in the draft? And he goes, the Jets at 2. And he answered it quickly, without hesitation. Now, that doesn't mean he thinks that's what they're going to do, but he thinks it's a possibility.
Even that conversation is interesting.
Well, it's crazy. I mean, look, the best players in this draft are linebackers, running backs, and safeties.
Right.
You don't have many drafts like this. It's just not the way it usually goes.
No. And, you know, the one thing that, again, we have totally even pushed this to the side because we haven't officially named the Giants defensive coordinator yet, right? We don't even have that.
Yes. And by the way, Ryan Roon asked, can you do a huddle with either Wilson or Nagy? Hope to once it becomes official. If it becomes official, if the reports are correct, they do in fact become the Giants coordinators.
Because that, of course, is the other problem here. We're talking about Harbaugh and his input. What about the defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
You know, we know that Wilson likes to play 3 safeties. He likes a big nickel, and he's not afraid to play a lot of 3 safeties.
And remember, he had a guy like Jalen Ramsey. He had a guy like Minka Fitzpatrick, so he knows how to use these safeties.
How much does that come into play?
That's a good question.
That's why, folks, I know.
Wilson was also in Baltimore when they had Kyle Hamilton as a rookie.
Yeah. And by the way, he's really good.
He is really good.
So
probably the most important player on that defense.
There is so much that we don't know.
But
so much.
Downs also, remember, Kyle Hamilton's like 6'3", 215, though.
Bigger.
Downs is 6'2", 205.
Yes.
Different type of player.
Bigger player.
Downs is a better coverage player to me, and Hamilton's man-to-man wise, but Hamilton's better on the line of scrimmage.
Yes. Hamilton's a bigger hitter, bigger frame.
Yes. But he's longer, too, which matters.
It does.
Playing that spot.
It does. So, look, I would say this. At 5, you know, unfortunately for the last decade, we've been in this spot far too many times.
Correct.
But John and I will constantly tell you, at 5, there's really no excuse not to get a really good player.
That's the thing, right? That just get a guy that's going to impact your team in a major way. That's right.
Wherever he turns out to be, whoever Mr. X is.
Whether it's a safety, a wide receiver, a tackle,
please
whatever.
Just be a dominant player.
Yeah.
That's all. And I'll be happy. Just be a dominant player. Wherever you play, be dominant.
All right, let's go to Dominic in Florida. Dominic, what's going on, man?
Hi, how are you guys?
We're good.
I've been listening to you for like 10 years now. I don't call in much, but I wanted to ask you guys about the prospect, and I know we have to get through free agency, but I wanted to ask you guys about the prospect of trading down from 5 and maybe bolstering up a little bit on day 2, getting a couple draft picks there, and then trading down from 5 to maybe acquire one of those linemen that you guys think may not be good at 5, but something a little, later on, like I'd say maybe down to like 8 or 9. I wanted to get your guys' opinion with that, and I'll take it off the air and I'll listen to you guys on YouTube. So thank you and keep up the great work.
Dominic, thanks for being such a loyal watcher and listener. We appreciate that, and don't be a stranger. Feel free to call back. I would love to trade down in this draft and drop down 4 or 5 spots.
Who's coming up?
That's the problem.
I asked you that when you were down at the Senior Bowl. I said, John, is there any poop down there that's talking about possibly moving up or down? And you said, Paul, no. You can't move down.
No.
There's no desire for anybody to move up.
I mean, who is somebody moving up for? A running back? linebacker, safety.
And to be honest, let's just say, I'll give you a scenario, caller. I'll give you a good scenario, and this will answer your question for you. We both believe very strongly that Downs is going to be a Pro Bowl level player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If he slips there to 5 and somebody says, you know what? We really think he's that good too. We'd like to maybe move up a couple spots to get him. Well, to be honest with you, you're probably not going to get a big haul because he's not a quarterback.
No, you'll get like a 3rd round pick or something like that.
Bingo.
Right.
Is it really worth, if you're the Giants, if he is that highly rated, is it worth you trading out of that spot for a 3rd round pick? I say no.
It's a great question. These are all the things we get to debate over the next. By the way, Johnny Mac, I think officially draft season started today based on the calls we've gotten, I think technically,
I think so
officially,
too.
right?
I think so
technically
too.
draft season. I'm with you. All right, let's go to Jason in Virginia. Wants to talk about, guess what? The draft. Jason, what's going on, man?
I know, big shocker today. Well, I think it's because I know we can create more cap room, but because we're on the lower end of the cap room right now, I think a lot more people are excited about the draft and building for the future, and especially with the way, particularly last year's draft, where I think there's a lot of hype about that. My question, though, is specifically, I've been in Paul's camp for years. We need a big body wide receiver. I miss the Plaxico days. I miss a guy who could be that kind of big physical security blanket, particularly with now, a younger quarterback. I guess we could stop saying rookie quarterback at this point. So when I'm watching like the combine and I'm watching, stuff online or when we see stuff about some of these wide receivers, what are some of the things I should be looking for? Like, as far as like, what should we be looking for in ideal, like 40 time being for a bigger guy? What should we be looking for in the pass catching drills maybe from them? And again, some of the stuff on tape, what are some things we can key on as being, sort of layman at this to say, hey, maybe this guy, particularly like guys in the later rounds, because I understand we're probably not going to want to trade all the way back to get one of the bigger is like Carnell Tate's gone or, something along those lines. So I'll take it off the air.
Thank you, Jason. Great question. I'm going to keep it really simple. And this has nothing to do with combine drills or tests or 40 times. It's really simple. Can you get open? And how consistently can you create separation? That's what the league is now. The league is creating separation, whether that's against press man or off man. To me, this is a league that's all about change of direction now, Paul. And it's not just wide receiver, by the way. It's all these different positions. Are you explosive? Can you change directions? Can you stop? Acceleration, deceleration. Those are the things to me that are most important at the wide receiver position. And look, obviously you have to really be able to catch the ball in traffic and do all those sorts of things. Obviously, all that stuff is important. But to me, I look at guys that, especially when you see a bigger guy that can create separation, that's important. A big guy that can play like a little guy, that's what separates guys.
That's the Cadillac.
Like Jamar Chase is like 215 pounds, moves like a little guy. It's different. So that to me is the very simple thing you look at. The 40-yard dash time to me is not super important as a wide receiver. That I like looking at the 3-cone drill times because that measures change of direction and stop. So I would keep an eye on that. Unfortunately, a lot of the wide receivers don't run the 3-cone drill anymore.
No, they
don't. You
get
maybe a half dozen of them that run it, and that's it. So that's what I look at, Jason. I think this is a separation-based league, and that has to do with start and stop and change of direction and explosiveness. So, and that's why the jumping drills are kind of important for wide receivers too, right? Because that measures explosiveness.
The best way to answer this question is actually to go back to your question. You said that you loved watching Plexico Burress. Plexico Burress was not a burner. But what was Plexico Burress? He was a very, very strong player at the point of attack because his ball skills were ridiculous. Okay? And he also knew how to set guys up in his routes. Now, he wasn't the most precise route runner in the world, but he knew how to fake guys out and how to set them up. He could play mind games with them.
Just go back and
deke them.
Go watch the NFC Championship game and what he did to Al Harris.
Undressed him all day long.
And even though he was a big guy, he was able to create separation.
Bingo. See, a lot of times people think that word separation means speed, and that's not true.
Right.
That is not true. It can, but it doesn't automatically mean speed.
A good Burress comparison, you might not like this. I think he's kind of similar to what George Pickens is for the Cowboys. right?
Yes.
Big, long guy, but he's
Yes.
able to separate.
Yes. Why do you think I like Pickens coming out of the draft? Okay.
Both of us did.
Yeah.
Like
So
that's right.
that I'm looking at the ability to run your routes and to basically wreak havoc with a DB, not necessarily with speed, but to create that space, which is separation, like he's talking about. Create enough space so that your ball skills can allow you to make the play.
Yeah,
those are the two big things.
You don't want just a contested catch guy. That can be part of it.
It can
but
be
he has
part
to
of
be
it.
more than that.
It has to be more than that.
Have you watched Denzel Boston yet out of Washington?
No, I have not.
Watch him. I want you to report back to me. Tell me what you think.
Okay.
I think you'll like him. He's my fourth guy. I think he's borderline first-round pick.
See, the one thing about the contested catch guys, and people know that is a great quality specifically that usually the bigger receivers have. We talk about that a lot. And yes, it's a very desirable function. The problem is, if the guy relied too much on contested catch skills in college, chances are he's not going to get open enough at the NFL level.
Because if you can't get open in college, you're not going to get open in the NFL.
Correct.
You're right.
And chances are
Right.
those DBs will make those contested catches impossible for you.
That's a good point, too, because the DBs are better.
Bingo. So that's why this is a very nuanced kind of thing. You know, we use these phrases and these terms, and yes, those are all qualities you want, but we have to be very careful how we quantify them because there is always a little asterisk next to them, right, John?
And Tate's listed at 6'3". My guess he'll probably come in closer to 6'2".
Probably.
That'll be my bet.
Probably.
But again, if you look at the nuance in his route running at the top of his route tree, it's excellent.
Terrific.
Great separation and his body control. He plays, even though he might only end up being 6'2", like
bigger than he is.
202, he plays like a 6'4", 217-pound guy.
Hakeem Nicks played bigger than he was.
Except I think Tate's probably faster than Nicks even.
I think he is. But see, the thing about Nicks had really good length and massive hands.
Yeah. Good body control, too.
Excellent body control. Excellent route runner. His ball skills. That's why he was a 1,000-yard receiver in this league.
Even
That's
though he
why
wasn't he was only a 4.5 something guy. He wasn't even that fast.
Plexico might have been a 4.6.
Right.
Might have been. I'm not even sure what he timed was because it was so long ago now. But Plex did not blow anybody away with his time. Neither did Hakeem Nicks. But they were terrific in terms of being skyscraping impact receivers.
Burris 4.59.
Okay, that's 4.6.
That's slow. No, that's slow.
Yeah, that is slow.
Nicks 4.63.
There you go. My man, would you want either one of those guys on the Giants today? I guarantee that you would.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a 4.51 at the combine officially. I don't know why.
For
Nicks. For Nicks, yes.
Again, that's not 4.2, 4.3, 4.4.
It's a lesson, everybody. Do not trust the Google AI results.
Oh, is that what you
and
did?
read it quickly.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Make sure you scroll down because it's never right.
But again, to your question, would you love to have Plexico Burris or Hakeem Nicks on this team today? Sure you would.
And Burris was also 6'6", 230 pounds.
Well,
I mean, he was a tank.
He was a crane, like skyscraper. That's what I always call those guys. They're skyscrapers.
All right,
I love them.
We got 4 more YouTube comments, Paul. Let's get to them, right?
Yeah.
From @JBDB6IB. Sure. Can someone please tell me why the NFL makes teams wait till March to start free agent signings? Well, the season doesn't end until the second week of February, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they do the combine first and then free agency. I suppose you could, in theory, flip those and do free agency when the combine starts, like on the end of February, and then do the combine after that. I would not have a problem with that if you wanted to do that. My guess, though, is that they want the combine done so the NFL GMs and stuff can be in their base running free agency for 2 or 3 weeks before they have to hit the road and start doing this other stuff.
Doesn't that also, though, involve the fiscal year? Free agency involves the fiscal year.
Well,
the
yeah,
salary cap.
you would have to move up when the league year starts.
You'd have to do that, too.
Paul
I don't
makes a
think
great
they're
point.
too anxious to do that.
The league year starts the middle of March with the cap.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't think about that part of it. It's a good point.
That's a business move.
Yep.
That's not necessarily a physical move.
That's a good point. Because the NBA starts free agency, 2 weeks after the
Yeah.
a week after the season
I
ends,
know.
4 or 5. Usually the season ends in 4 or 5 days you have the draft, and then another 4 or 5 days you have free agency.
Yeah.
So that's much
quick.
tighter. And by the way, folks, and again, I don't think I'm giving away the story here, but the NFL also likes to spread out their events.
Oh boy, do
So
they?
you get one in each. You kind of get one every 2 or 3 weeks in the off season. So you get the Super Bowl in the middle of February. End of February, you get the Combine. Middle of March, you get free agency, and that'll last a good 3 weeks of news. Then that'll take you into the beginning of April. End of April, you have the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have schedule release in May.
Yep.
You have mini camps and OTAs in June,
Yep.
and then finally we get time off in July. And training camp starts the third week
The
of July.
black hole of the calendar.
Yes, but it's not much of one. It's a pretty small black hole these days.
It's getting smaller.
It's a small. Let's keep it a little bit bigger, please. Some of us do actually like to spend time with their families. That's enjoyable.
Some of us have families that don't want to spend time with us.
Good line. It's not wrong.
Please go ahead.
All right, at JCNY718, what is the Giants' actual identity heading into the offseason, and what do you guys expect our identity to be with Hardball? Right now, I really don't know. Well, JC, there's no way to know because they haven't made any moves yet. So
Right.
until you see that, you're not going to know, but I think it's all going to start being physical. I think that's where this starts, and we're not, unfortunately, going to be able to see that until training camp starts in July, but I think this is going to be a team where John Harbaugh wants them to be extremely physical, win at the line of scrimmage, and then work off of that.
You know, when he stresses how much he wants all of his guys to love football, that tells you hit and run.
Block and tackle.
Get after it. Get after it. I don't think you're going to see any passive read and react kind of stuff out of this team this year. I don't think that's going to be the
I
case at all.
think you're probably right. At same, that's not a tweeter, YouTuber, sure. At JBDB6IB again. Are we expecting immediate success with Harbaugh, or are we expecting a step-by-step program? I mean, I don't think you go from, tell us to the Patriots, I don't think you go from picking fifth in the draft to going to the Super Bowl. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. Like we said last week, given how often teams go worst to first in the NFL these days, look at the Bears last year too. I would never say never, right? But I think you hope next year, and you guys are going to get tired of hearing me say this, but I'm going to say it on all these shows that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to December, and before the game or at halftime, they put up those playoff graphics, and they have the division leaders, the wild card teams, and then the in the hunt. Just be in the hunt graphic. Usually put like 5 teams in the hunt.
Be on the
graphic.
screen, John.
Be on the screen. We've been off the screen before Halloween.
Yes.
Too many seasons.
Very much so.
Be on the in the hunt screen. Try to be a playoff team in your first year.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, you want to call that step by step? Fine. And if you're better than that, even better. But I think that's a good place to start.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how it goes. And finally, T-Tom13. Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles, Paul, which one would you want? I have not finished my evaluation of both the guys, so I will reserve. I'm going to do that this week. I will reserve my answer. I think it's going to be Arvell Reese, to be honest with you, just based on my instinct, on what I've seen more casually watching college football this year, and what I've seen on tape, just because I think he's really long and big. He actually reminds me of Carl Banks a little bit, the way he plays.
Yeah.
So I think I lean Reese, but I have not finished my evaluation yet. How about
Face value, I would say Reese. But depending upon the situation here and what it is that they want to do, I would reserve the right to change my mind.
Well, you've been, of course.
But face value, I would say Reese.
So when we started, you said you're talking about sliding downs out of your group, right?
I think I'm sliding
Okay.
downs out of my group.
Would Sonny Styles be in your group?
At 5?
Yeah. Maybe. Leave it at a maybe. You haven't studied him yet, so you don't have to give a definitive answer.
No, I have not studied. I've seen him play, but I haven't studied
And that's
him.
why you don't have to give a definitive answer.
I would say this. If Bobby Okereke is a cap casualty, I'm more likely to put Styles in that conversation.
I agree with that. Paul, good show.
Yeah. okay.
Callers, excellent job. Tomorrow it's Dottino and SciTac. I'm sure they'll talk more draft with you. Any other news that might come down in terms of the assistant coaches, we'll keep track of that for you as well. For Johnny Mac, for Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. That's Big Blue Kickoff Live presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. Coming to you from the Giants podcast studio presented by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. We'll see you tomorrow at 12:30.